a 10 spring system will install in minutes rather than hours. Try to do that with the leading Zipline braking system that's not a true emergency brake or a true emergency arrest device, which is standalone. The advantage of this spring is it has multiple compression rates. As you notice, when I squeeze this together, the center closes faster. That means that you have a lighter, softer compression when you come in. You're not going to come in and hit a very stiff spring. I used to sell springs similar to this one right here. These are very rigid. They all compress at the same rate, so this one will compress at the same compression as this one, and so on. If you've ever had to install one of these cylinder style brake systems, the first couple of coils go on relatively easy, and then you start fighting it. And since this is only a 3/8 cable, it's a lot lighter. But I don't want to keep putting this on and bore you to death by putting this on. I'm going to just do away with this spring, because out with the old, in with the new. I'm going to show you how quick and easy I can install a barrel-shaped spring system. I'm going to do only a portion of this, but it'll only take me 5 to 7 minutes, if that. So once again, we're going to install one more spring. You can install them this way. I like to do it this way. You can just spin them on. Just make sure that the little spring hook, the ends are called hooks. You're going to want to each time just go over the top of the cable. And you'll notice once you get to the middle, whereas with that other spring, this one gets easier, much easier. And it'll be on in seconds rather than minutes with the old one. If it takes more than 59 seconds to put one of these springs on, I would be surprised. So then you're going to take your spring spacer. We sell one spring spacer with one spring. We sell a 10 spring spacer combo for about $1,600, and with a bumper, which we recommend that you have at the end, and we will only sell your spring system with a bumper, it'll come up to about $1,700. That's a spring system for a 250-pound rider at 6 miles per hour. You take the spring system spacer, you're going to put it on, you're going to nest that right in here. There's a little nesting location. It'll be shown simpler with this video. And you're going to take the other side and you're going to rotate it around, and notice how the spring hook nests right in there to where you can hardly see it. Then you're going to take one of these spring inserts and you're going to install it. You're just going to press it right in, and as long as the springs are, the hooks are in the right location, it's going to press in relatively simple. I've noticed that this one might be for the heavier duty or the light duty springs, so I'm going to get the insert that I have for the light duties or the heavy duty springs. It has a little extra notch in there just for simpleness and ease. So you're going to push that there. You're going to take this insert, you're going to press it in, you're going to make sure it's flush. You want this to be about flush with the top of the spring when you put the screws in. Then you're going to take another spring system or spacer. I recommend just keeping these together, usually with one screw in there, even if for storage. You're going to rotate that spring hook in. Once again, this camera is going to show you a lot more than the visual cameras out here. So you'll notice how that nests right in there. Then you're going to take the insert and you're going to press it right in. At that point, you're going to grab your power driver and the screws. They're a torque 20, and I will sell a torque 20 bit for your power driver. And like I said, this barrel-shaped spring systems we sell at Zipline Braking Systems, installs in minutes rather than hours or days. And we don't you do not have to send it back to us for recertification every year, like one of the leading brake systems that's not a true emergency brake, and they said so in their January 2017 white paper, where they said springs are a much better brake system if you size them right. They're standalone. You want to inspect them daily. You want to look for cracks. You want to rotate them, make sure all the screws are there. We recommend putting all 3 screws in. You're going to just rotate it. It's going to inspect in minutes rather than hours. A normal inspection for a zip stop, if I might say, may take you 2 hours to look at every component, which you are required to do, and that might require you getting up on a ladder. To inspect our spring system, they're right at generally about eye level or above, to where you can see. You just rotate the springs and look at each coil, make sure there's no lightning strikes, no damage, no missing screws. If there's a missing screw, just have some extra screws, and I'll provide a resource, so you don't have to buy them from me. You can buy them from McMaster Car or another supplier that sells a good plastic screw that is designed for plastic. And this is better than plastic. This is a high-grade polymer that is rated for the UV. And once again, you want to check your entire spring system. You want to make sure that you're not missing any screws. Nobody wants to be missing any screws. Once again, this barrel-shaped spring system installs in minutes rather than hours or days. Anyone who has ever installed a zip stop knows that there's a lot of calculations. There's a 90-page manual to review, and you better be on top of every one of those points of that manual, or they are not going to warranty, or you could be in trouble. And once again, they are not a true emergency arrest device. They are a Zipline brake, but not a emergency brake. Now, they say that you can install 2 zip stops, one being the primary brake, one being the secondary, as long as the secondary is not being engaged with the rider every time. If it's being engaged, then you need an emergency brake. Some of the emergency brakes that I've seen where they've had 2 zip stops, they're so inadequate that they are not sized properly. And once again, every barrel-shaped spring system is required to have a bumper. This is the location where the trolley will strike into that and compress these springs. Once again, it's quite simple to inspect. You can do it at usually an eye level. You might need a step ladder, depending on how high your zip line is, and literally installs in minutes. It is inspected in minutes. You don't have to return it every year for a recertification and extra cost, and very simple to install and inspect. And you have an American-made spring system. All components, except for possibly the screws, are made in the United States, and this is a patented system, and it is a very good system to purchase and use, and happy ziplining. Thank you.